Hello, welcome to part 2 of Java tutorial with me. We are making Tic-Tac-Toe using Java in the console. Part 1 we did a 2D array, and then now we're going to do a scanner and a switch case that will go through the numbers and place our X or O. I'm actually going to change this into a 3-parter so that I have more time to set up the computer. So that'll be part 3, is setting up the other player. And I'm also going to go through my 2D array real quick because the information will be pertinent for the switch case. Alright, so here is a map I made of the 2D array that we made in part 1. Notice some key things here. One is it's exactly like a grid, and that's how we're going to map it out with our X and Y. And also, since it's Java, they always start at 0, so or 5 columns and rows, but according to Java, the number only goes to 4, even though there's 5, and that's because we include 0. So that's going to be important because what I've done here is I've mapped out all of the playable spaces. So for instance, 0, 0, 0, 2, 0, 4. Then, since every symbol in this grid also includes a space, I made smaller circles for all the symbols. So we're actually going to skip row 1 because it's part of the board. So it'll be like 0, 2, 2, 2, 2, 4, and so on. So yeah, that's what the syntax we're using. And we need this because when we do the switch case, it's going to reference a point on the board. So it'll say, if you choose area number 5, it will use coordinates 2, 2. So it knows where to go. So yeah, I just thought I'd clear that up before we get into the nitty gritty. But yeah, let's code. Okay, so now we have our game board down here in the console. And what the next step is, we need to accept inputs. So to do this, we need a Java scanner. So we're going to do scanner. And when we click enter, IntelliJ is going to import a utility scanner. So we don't have to fuck with that code. We're going to call scanner scan. And we'll do new scanner. So this is just establishing the name of our scanner. Everything needs a name or a variable. So scanner scan, new scanner, and where, we need a source of where this input will be. And since we're doing everything in the console, we're going to do system, capital S, system.in. So if we do system.in, it's going to turn pink. This will let us input stuff down here in the console. So let's put in let's tell Java what's going to be scanned. So we're going to do scan.nextInt. This lets you input a number. And what we're going to do is for each playable space on the tic-tac-toe is going to be a number, 1 through 9. And whatever number you input is where your X is going to go. So it's kind of like chess, you know? It's like a grid. So number 3 would be top right. So to name this int, because it needs to be stored in Java, we're going to call it pos, and this stands for position. So basically, scan next int, what position? We should probably, okay, hold on. Before this, let's prompt the user, place your move 1 through 9. So we'll give the user a prompt, and then the scanner will take in an input, store it as position, and this will tell Java where to put an X or an O. So int pos equals scan next int. And then we'll print pos. That way, that's just to see if Java stored our input. So let's go down here and let's put the number 3. Oop, read only. Okay, well, let's run it. Okay, place 1 through 9. Let's put a 3 in there. Click enter. Oop, tab enter. Okay, tab enter 3. It printed back 3. So that is a good sign. It means that Java is storing our int, and we can use that information to place the next piece. That gets us into our next lesson. We're going to make a switch case, and this will read your input and go through 1 through 9, and then it will place your X wherever it falls on the switch case. So let's do that next. So next step, we need to establish who the user is, if it's the player's turn or the CPU's turn. And then we're going to make a switch case that will take the position that they input and decide where to put the X on the game board. So we're going to go down to we're going to make a new method because we want to keep the main method nice and clean. That's just where our board is and all of our print commands and method calls. So we're going to go down here, public static void, and we'll call this place piece, like you're placing a chess piece. No, or I mean like an X or no. And now we're going to add parameters. Now since this is kind of like there's a lot being processed here, we're going to have 3 parameters. We're going to have the game board, because we want it to print a new game board each time a piece is placed. So we're gonna pass the game board through here, comma. Then we're gonna pass the position through here. So that is an int pos. And lastly, we're gonna ask who's the one doing this. Is it the player or is it the computer? So this is going to be a string, something simple, and we'll call it user. Okay. So let's start with the user first because we want to know who's doing what. So for the default char symbol, we're going to just make it a space. Because up until you place something there, we want it to be blank. So char symbol blank. And symbol is a new, symbol is going to be X and O. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to use an if statement and if else and say, is player playing or is CPU playing? And if nothing has been played there, char symbol is going to be space, nothing. So we're going to do an if statement. If user, and since we're dealing with a string, we can't use an equal sign, so we need to use dot equals. If user dot equals player, import a string there. If user dot equals player, curly brace, symbol equals capital X. And remember, since it's a character, singular quotations. Symbol equals X. Okay. Else if user dot equals, we'll do CPU. Symbol equals O. Oh. I feel like this is going to fail for sure. Let's see if it even runs. Okay, so they want one of those. Let's just clean up our code here. Okay, so we have one too many curly braces. Way too many curly braces. Right? Okay, cool. It runs. We have the setup. We are going to use symbol in the switch case, which we will do right now. So when does this end? I feel like, God, the curly braces got out of hand. So that goes to that one. Right? So that's there. I feel like we're missing some curly braces, but it still ran. All right, let's do switch. What we're going to run through this switch statement is the position. So we're going to do pause. The fact that that turned red means that I'm not in the method. So I got my curly braces all fucked up. Switch. Pause. Still red. Dude, this is so fucked. Why does this look so weird? And this needs to not be there. Okay. Once again, there was a fucking curly brace. God, it's infuriating. Okay, case one is going to be game board. And these coordinates are going to be in square brackets. So we'll do 0. Board 0, 0 equal. Okay, my bad. Game board 0, 0 equals symbol. And this will place the X or O depending on whose turn it is. Then we use our, is that? Okay, hold on. Because we need to break it. Symbol, break. Why is it grayed out like that? We'll figure it out. But let's take the case, Command C, V, 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 V. Oh, Lord. This is a fucking mess. There's 9 total cases. I'm going to fast forward through this. Okay, so we have our switch set up. It's going to, the number being fed in there is going to be the position you play. And basically, how I came up with this was I made the little graph, and it goes by 2s and 4s. So 0, 0, 0, 2, 0, 4. Let's try it out. Let's run this code. Stop and rerun. Please, please work. Okay. I forgot my syntax for switch statements. That's why it was looking so weird and not. Also, I know this formatting will bug some people. It's driving my OCD kind of crazy. So this needs to be there, right? No? Default. And we're going to have to print this too. So we'll do down here, place piece, pause. Then to print what we just did, the switch statement, we're going to do place piece, and then we need to print out our parameters of what we put in there. So game board, pause, and player. Because we haven't gotten it to the computer yet. We're going to have to build a random number generator. Okay, let's see if this works. Cool. Okay, so here down in our console, let's move this up a little bit so that we can see. Console, we'll say I want to move on 5. Oh, it didn't print our board. All right, I figured out why it wasn't reprinting the board. Basically, what we need to do is after the switch statement runs, it's going to place our X. So we need to just call the print game board method again so it prints it with our placed X. So let's run through a demo real quick. we have our board, place 1 through 9. We're going to do 5. And there we have it. It placed our X on 5. In the next video, we're going to integrate the turn mechanic where the computer will pick one. And then we need to figure out how to stop it once someone has won. So please tune in next time. I hope this was a good demonstration. It definitely helped me learn. See you next time.